Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to show you how to build a new HTML builder in Golang. So let's get started. I'm going to change to my curve folder and create a new Golang project. Use a Go most needs git.com and HTML. Sorry. So I need to create a new project, new folder, HTML. And cd to HTML, and we're gonna go most in it and HTML. Okay, so now I'm going to open this project on my IDE. And I'm going to create a new folder for this. For example, this folder is going to implement our package. So I have a main file. Let's go and we change to package string main, and we have a function main, and now I'm going to print hello. Okay, now I'm going to run this and make sure everything is working fine. cd example and go run main.go. We should see hello work. Yeah, okay, that worked. I'm going to change my font to a little bit better, bigger, to you can see it's easily, and 20. Okay, so I'm going to design this builder like this. So we have a HTML, we have a something like container or deep equal html.deep, something like this, deep, and we also deep.add new nodes, and it's kind of a node interface and something like that. And we have a I'm going to implement deep.html like that, and we could do that, and we could console log like. Okay, so that is how I want to design in this package, the builder package. So let's implement this package by create a new go in the root sub project, and going to have a html.go. Okay, now I'm going to create a new interface. So type node interface. So in interface we decide our nodes always have a HTML. This is going to print out the nodes and child, and it should be a string. Okay, so I'm going to design a new. Okay, so it's fine. I'm going to create a new file for implement new type deep.trace deep, going to deep track. So in deep we have a child. It's going to have an array of nodes. So do you remember the nodes? And node is the interface, and inside of deep, and deep it can be have a more field like ID and class name, but now I'm going to implement simple first thing, the deep, and on this case now I'm going to go back to main function. Now I'm going to have a container equal html.deep. Yeah, so in this case we create a new empty, and we need to implement html.add. So in this HTML ads, I'm going to inside div file, I'm going to have a function div ads. The going should be alright. Div it could be like this, and add new nodes. It should be add new node and return. It should be return a div. And now when we're adding a new node, so for example, an HTML struct like this, and we have a div and closed curse div, and we have add new nodes inside new node. It should be like this, and just try one. So in that case, you're going to have a div d.child equal upper pen d.child to new node. Yeah, so it looks like this, and so now going to return d. And in this case, we have a going to container dot add new nodes. For example, HTML dot div. Alright, and HTML div should be have a value. Value could be a string, and so for example, we're going to have a value. This is child 1. Now it's not compatible with a node. You remember we had the node interface, but the div it should implement the node interface, should have a function HTML. So in that case, we are going to back to div, and we're going to implement French div. Div should be in HTML. It should be return a string. Now we return. So we have an output should be begin as a div, and we have an output and plus with the end of the div we close the tag, and we return output. So remember, the node div it had trial, so we need to check that if div dot trial is not nil, I'm going to loop for index underscore. I'm not going to use the index anymore, so let's then the nodes rank d dot trial, and output now it should be upper pen with nodes dot html. Yeah, it's not html file. Yeah, so now let's see. Okay, html receiver pointer. So I think we could implement like this. Okay, it's HTML. Now it should be to compiler now happy. And finally, we are going to print it file. Remember, in the div file, we need to output equal plus with div dot value. If div has value, we're going to print our value. For example, value hello. It should be hello. It should be have a hello method. It should be the value. So so we need to print out the value right away. Now I'm going to implement this. Now I'm going to print line container.html file. Now let's see how it works. Go run main.go. So you see we have a new HTML struct with div. And now what happens if we code this file? And I think we can do that by trial array of html.node, and now going html.div, and we have a value should be this is the content of the trial 1, and it should have a trial 2. Now we should print now. You see div 1, it's his child, and we have a next child div 2, and that's good. So if you want to implement a small HTML file, for example, now I'm going to implement new element type. For example, it could be lit url.go. So type URL equals struct, and we need to have a function you HTML. We need to implement it. We need to implement URL list with interface of the node. So we should have an HTML function. Okay, so it's the same thing, and going to have a child. It should be array of nodes as well, and we do have a function dot add new node, and we return URL. Okay, so in HK URL, I think, and we have a morph type. Check, and we have child as well. Yes, no, and going to implement function arrays HTML, and now going to get back to div and copy that file. I'm going to copy this content and going to into list, and it should be list, and an output and code item, and alright, so in the we have a value as well. Should be a string and HTML. Okay, so same thing, should be string. Yeah, and now I am going to copy this for you file, and we have a value your child, and and in the UR we don't have a value. We only have a child. It's a lead item. So in O, you the child, and return output it could be string as well. Okay, so in this case we have an add function, and u.child equal u.upperpen u.child, and nodes, and return u. The same thing with it's the same with the list item. Now the list item, we should have a function list with function add new node. It should be return a list, and should be R. Okay, so in this case, going to create a new container. Just for example, going to add new URL. Let's go HTML list, and should we have a child, and HTML.nodes, and going to have a HTML.list item, and we have a value, for example, at list 1. Okay, and even we can do URL.add nodes, as html dot list item. We have a value, should be list item 2. Okay, now we need to go into add to html container dot add URL. Okay, now we're going to add a list and should print out this actually. You can see we have a deep content and we have a list URL as UR, and we have list item 1 and list item 2. Okay, so this is way how to we implement HTML builder. So you can go into implement another list item. For example, I'm going to implement new a.go. A.go it should be try a equals track. So struct, and we should have a child as well. It should be right optionals, and a should be have a title. It should be a string. I think it should be value string, and URL should be string as well. Okay, now we need to implement a. It go to node interface. Should we have a function a and HTML, and in HTML it should be return a string. It should be return output plus equal. We begin a tag and output plus width. We are going to close it a tag a, and finally we return output. Inside of this we have a value, and we have maybe we have a child. So for example, first thing we need to look for if check if a.child is not null, and going to for index for nodes equal ranks of a.child, and going to output plus with nodes.html. Okay, and now we have one more thing, wrap equal, and inside of it we have a a.url, and alright, so we have a URL, and we may have the content of the text output plus with a.value. Okay, we may have a more attribute like class equal, something like that, but we may implement later. Now we have a, so in each case we have an item. Inside the item, list item, I'm going to implement like this. And for example, like we can split this as well, and we have a list equal, and going to implement at e, and inside this we have add new item html.a, which have a value, and click here, and which have a URL html.com. Yeah, so right, so now I'm going to print out and see how it works. Now you should see HTML generate a list item, and we have a link set email link, click here. That's good. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you in next time.